Welcome back to Ferocious Education, this is Zed. Today, we're going to be talking once more about Vinco Ventures. Their stickers goes as BBIG. Now, in this video, we're going to try to go as much as we can towards new updated to Diligence and technical analysis. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So Vinco Ventures, we talked about this multiple times before in the last 3 weeks, and today what we're going to be looking at is again short interest and some more information relating towards that. But the price action movement has actually started seeing a really nice jump since our last video. I do recall the last video, but we've really seen higher volatility, and it seems that the base currently is sitting closer towards the $9.80 to the $10, and that is a bit more comfortable for people who've bought recently in that higher volatility range where it dipped towards $6. So anyone who really followed my early videos about this one should not be in the red, the price point is higher than all these points I did talk about before. Now in this video, let's start taking a look first off by the short interest. Now on the short interest side, what we get to see for just general, the short shares availability right now is 95,000 shares. So we're not talking in general just about the entire short shares available for short selling at different brokers, but these are shorts or shares that are no longer borrowed and returned back to the general realm of the floats. And what you're seeing here is that the fee or the short borrow fee rate is at a staggering almost 150%, 147.91% to be specific. Now, this is a recipe for disaster for a lot of people that are short selling. I mean, that is a massive percentage that is calculated daily. So it might not be worth it to hold on, but these people are really anticipating, if they're holding on, that this stock would plummet. So if you're holding up with 147% fee rate, that could be coming in down towards a massive amount if it doesn't drop within the next couple of days or so, given Monday or Tuesday. And on the other part, we're able to see that the short volumes are currently sitting anywhere between around 40 and 50 or 60%. That means that the majority of almost all transactions are going on towards the short side. And before moving on to other stuff, just a quick thing. If you were to take that 148% short borrow fee rate and you divide it by 365, now this is best on, or at least based on Questrade, how they calculate their borrow rate in general per day. So apparently they do use here the weekends and everything in between as a part of their percentage, but the actual rate is a little bit different. The formula for how much these fees are per day is borrow rate multiplied by market value of the security divided by 365 days in a year. So this is just to kind of give an idea of how much the short sellers themselves are being hurt per day. So if you were to calculate that, that comes out to be around 0.4% per day. So that is still quite high per day. So imagine the stock is not moving much. I mean, today it went around 4.34. So there's still more breaking even, but the number starts calculating or starts to jump quite a lot. So let's say out of that 0.4%, so this is again 0.4%, so you're gonna have to divide it by another 100 to get it to decimal, and then you multiply it. Let's say you put $100 into that, it comes out around to be 4 cents per day. So per $100 to being short or being short sold, currently it's around 40 cents per day. That is still equivalent to around 0.4%, but once you start multiplying it with the larger numbers, that's where things start to matter. But anyway, so we kind of get an idea on how much the short selling itself kind of costs. We did as well talk about the record date and everything in between. We covered this SEC filing in the last video, which is found again in the description below. But before moving on forward, if you would like to see more contents like this, make sure to click the subscribe button on the bottom right corner and leave notifications on. It should be on the bottom on mobile. And also, don't forget to drop a like to this video. It helps my channel a lot, and I know you hear this probably around 10 times a day on YouTube, but please make sure you do show your support with subscribing and liking. And if you'd like to go one further, you can join our Discord. It's a chat room. We're not trying to upsell you on anything on there. No get rich schemes at all. Now, on the other part, we did have the presentation. We also did go over it, and it did talk about the general outstanding shares and the number of cash or the amount of cash they're going to have if all the warrants were exercised, and other ones in terms of cashless warrants or cashless warrants exercise, assuming a price point, I believe it was $9 at this level. So there you go. With cashless warrants exercise assumes that the $9 strike price warrants are to be exercised in cash. And this will result in an enormous amount of cash, as well as zero debt in both cases. Now that is massive. Again, in relations towards their annual meeting, the current vote date for the TYDE spinoff will be somewhere closer to September 22, although September 15th is the record date, so you gotta make sure that you're holding a couple of days before that. Preliminary proxy, you should have received that 2 days ago, which is what we're talking about right now, but basically the main shareholder meeting will be October 14th. If you want to know more about Tide or Cryptide, you can watch again my last video, but it really goes towards blockchain technology and that kind of disruption on its own. Now, on another thing, if we were trying to take a look into institutional buyers, we're able to see that the general realm of institution remains the same. There's not much activity. You have one company here, which is Newbridge Financial Services. They liquidated around 4,000 shares, almost 65% of their entire position, but everyone else in the institution buyers are just holding still, not much action. There's a lot of institutions, including Morgan Stanley, that are really riding the wave with this one. It does look, with the higher volatility early on, a lot of these institutions packed up, and at some point they might have to sell or might consider selling, but they're betting on in the long game. And my anticipation is that they're trying to see if this one does go ahead and pull an AMC or not. Now, again, if you've never heard about this company, they buy different companies underneath them into a strategy called the BBIG, which is basically to grow the companies, innovate, and again, buy them at a cheaper cost and perhaps sell them later on or do a spinoff. Another thing is the ENFT.com, which is basically released or did release the first platinum album by Tory Lanez as a cryptocurrency. Currently, each copy is being sold around $2 each on the marketplace there. You'll have to watch my previous videos to know what I'm talking about more. And let's move on towards technical analysis. Now, from a technical analysis perspective, what we do get to see is that the 80X here, the first indicator I've been talking about for a while, the average directional index, it's almost hitting 40 sometime soon. Currently, it is still below 40, so that's a good thing. And currently, it's showing an incredibly strong trend. You gotta start worrying about it around 45 to 50, so we still got more fuel into this one. Now, this is a really nice uptrend, and you get to see that this 10-day SMA, which is in green, and the red line in 30 EMA, that's something called the trading action zone, and that's where most positive reversals occur, and that is currently sitting between the 870 cents and the 592. It's very bullish between those two levels, and you gotta think about, well, what happens if it drops between? It's most likely going to meet a positive reversal, and that's a bullish thing. Now, on a $1,000,000 perspective, it does still show that this one is a bit more overbought. Not as the day before, because we did have some selling today, but it shows that there's a lot of demand from buyers. Momentum and MACD are starting to see some resistance here. And you get to see in the last 3 business days, we basically had a red candle going from the top, and then a green candle and a red candle, and they're all almost the same size. What does that mean? It just means it's a tug of war. Buyers, sellers, buyers and sellers. And currently the momentum is almost at a sit still for the last couple of days or so. Now, in terms of stochastic fast and stochastic slow, you get to see that both are almost stabilizing, but hitting or pinpointing a little bit upwards, showcasing that there is a potential for another move for this one. The current moving average bands, what you get to see here is that they're moving forward around 1214, and everything is pinpointing upwards. Now that's good. And in terms of the Fibonacci retracements, and the only reason I'm trying to highlight this one multiple times before is that institutional buyers use this one. So currently on the support, it's 1005, 814, 680, 546, and 380. The resistances are at 1249. Now, if we were to go ahead and try to highlight some of the most significant resistances on a one-day perspective, we see one at 1111 and around 1197. In terms of support, 1032, down to 1002, down to 947, going to 910, and then down to 814, and then down to 732, going down to 687, 601, going downwards to 544, 503, going down to 470, and then 441, and then down to 367. And if we were to go ahead and take a little bit of a look into, let's say, a 20-minute perspective, we get to see that there's very strong support at the 1036 level. Below there, it's 1015. Below there, it's very close to the $10 mark, and then downwards to the 963 level, and then 944. Resistances. We're able to see one at the 1058, 1068, going upwards to 1083, 1102, and around 1130, going upwards to around 1163, and finally around 1192 to $12. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think is going to happen here? I think as it comes into the weekend and a lot of stocks kind of dipped, it's just following that. But if you were to take a look into the trend, it was really recovering and going upwards. It really shows that there's a lot of attention for this stock, and a lot of people are betting onto this one towards going towards a bullish move. And in all technicality, I do think that it's currently moving with this kind of upward trend. Now, these are a little bit outliers in my own perspective, but I do anticipate it to go towards the channel, at least in the bottom side. So you can ignore the top side, but currently on the bottom side, that is a very strong trend line that it's following. And I do anticipate for it to not hit lower than what it is right now and expand forward up to the $11 and $12.09 if it does go ahead and follow this channel. Now, what do you think about this sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.